First contact deception. The skies over Geneva shimmered like disturbed water on an autumn morning. The effect lasted precisely 8 seconds before 3 vessels materialized, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent sheen that made them appear more like living creatures than spacecraft. Each ship stretched nearly 2 kilometers in length, their designs suggesting both beauty and understated power. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the window of the United Earth Defense Command, her weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as she watched humanity's first official contact with an advanced alien civilization unfold. The ships of the Meridian Alliance had arrived exactly as their advance messages had promised, punctual, peaceful, and breathtaking. "Quite the show they're putting on," remarked Director James Okonjo, his deep voice carrying a note of skepticism that matched Chen's own unspoken concerns. "They certainly know how to make an entrance." The Meridian Alliance had first contacted Earth 3 months ago, using quantum communications to bypass traditional radio signals. Their message had been simple: they represented a collective of advanced civilizations, and Earth had been chosen for membership evaluation. It was, they claimed, a great honor. But something about their timing felt wrong to Chen. Earth had only recently achieved practical quantum computing and begun serious expansion throughout the solar system. The arrival of such an advanced civilization, precisely at this moment in human development, seemed too convenient. "Director," Chen said, keeping her voice low despite their secure location, "have you reviewed the data packet I sent this morning?" Okonjo nodded almost imperceptibly. "The gravitational anomalies around Jupiter's moons. Our deep space arrays picked them up 2 weeks before the Alliance's first contact. Almost as if they were watching us," Chen finished. "Running surveillance before making their grand entrance." Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime. The Alliance representatives were ready to begin their first face-to-face meeting with Earth's Leadership Council. The meeting chamber had been specially prepared, a perfect blend of Earth's various architectural styles meant to showcase humanity's cultural diversity. The Alliance delegation materialized in the center of the room, 3 beings that appeared almost human, save for their slightly elongated limbs and the subtle phosphorescent patterns that shifted beneath their translucent skin. "Esteemed leaders of Earth," the central figure spoke, its voice carrying perfect harmonics that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly in their minds. "I am First Speaker Lyra, and we bring greetings from the Meridian Alliance." The formal introductions proceeded exactly as planned, but Chen watched the aliens' subtle movements, the way their eyes darted around the room, analyzing, measuring. These weren't diplomats making first contact. These were strategists assessing a target. As Lyra began explaining the Alliance's membership evaluation process, Chen's secure neural implant vibrated with an incoming message from Deep Space Observatory Delta. The message was 4 words long: "They're scanning everything. Everywhere." The first speaker's voice continued smooth as silk. "We have watched your species' remarkable progress with great interest. Your resilience, your adaptability, these are qualities the Alliance values highly. We believe Earth would make an excellent addition to our collective. We are honored by your interest," Council President Maria Santos responded, following the carefully prepared diplomatic script. "Earth looks forward to learning more about the evaluation process." The meeting continued for another hour, filled with diplomatic pleasantries and vague promises of technological exchange. But it was what happened after the official meeting that confirmed Chen's suspicions. As the Earth's Leadership Council filed out of the chamber, Chen's enhanced hearing caught a fragment of conversation between 2 Alliance members who thought themselves unobserved. "Primary scan complete. Resistance potential minimal. Proceed with Protocol 17th. Chen kept her face carefully neutral as she left the chamber, but her mind was racing. She had served in Earth's defense forces for 30 years, and she knew the tone of beings discussing military strategy. The Alliance wasn't here to welcome Earth into some grand collective. This was reconnaissance, pure and simple. Back in her secure office, Chen activated the quantum-encrypted channel to the Hyperion facility, buried deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Dr. Patel, please tell me Project Oracle is ready. The holographic image of Dr. Aisha Patel flickered to life, her expression grim. We completed the final simulations this morning, Admiral. The Alliance's technology, it's exactly what the artifacts predicted. Down to the quantum signature of their hull materials. Chen felt a chill run down her spine. 3 years ago, they had discovered the ruins deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, remnants of an ancient civilization that had once called Earth home. The artifacts they found had contained a warning about the Meridian Alliance and their true nature. They weren't builders of peace, they were harvesters of worlds. How long do we have? Chen asked. Based on the patterns described in the artifacts, they'll spend exactly 30 days evaluating our potential. Then they'll make their move. Patel's image flickered. But Admiral, there's something else. The defense systems we found in the ruins, we've managed to decrypt more of the activation protocols. They're not just weapons. They're a message from our ancestors. Chen leaned forward. What kind of message? The civilization that built them, they weren't aliens. They were us. Human. From a time so far back it predates our recorded history. They left these defenses knowing the Alliance would return eventually. They left them for us. The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival now. They were reclaiming their heritage. Begin Phase 1, Chen ordered. Keep our responses to the Alliance diplomatic and submissive. Meanwhile, I want every defense system from the ruins checked, double-checked, and ready for activation. We have 30 days to prepare humanity's surprise for our unwelcome guests. As she ended the transmission, Chen looked out at the Alliance ships still hovering over Geneva. They thought they were watching a young, naive species ripe for conquest. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity's ancestors had been feared across the galaxy. The game of deception had begun. And this time, humanity would be the ones writing the rules. The hidden heritage. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known only to a handful of people on Earth, Dr. Aisha Patel stood before a wall that shouldn't exist. The structure, stretching 30 meters high and covered in softly glowing symbols, had been crafted from a material that defied modern scientific analysis. More remarkable than its composition, however, was its age. Carbon dating placed it at over 100,000 years old. Play the sequence again, she instructed her team. The symbols began to shift and flow, telling a story that had changed everything they thought they knew about human history. Through the facility's quantum-encrypted channel, Admiral Chen watched the playback from her command center in Geneva. Talk me through what we've learned, Doctor. Patel approached one of the central panels, her dark eyes reflecting the ancient light. We were wrong about everything, Admiral. About our history, our potential, even our place in the galaxy. She gestured to a series of intricate diagrams. These aren't just technical schematics. They're our inheritance. The wall displayed images of a civilization that had once spanned not just Earth, but the entire solar system. Cities on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt, research stations orbiting Jupiter. Humanity had achieved all of this before, long ago. The Meridian Alliance didn't discover us, Patel continued, her voice tight with controlled excitement. They rediscovered us. And they've been waiting for us to reach a specific technological threshold before making contact. The quantum computing breakthrough, Chen realized. Exactly. Because quantum technology is the key to activating what our ancestors left behind. Patel moved to another section of the wall, where the symbols showed vast networks of defensive systems hidden throughout the solar system. They knew the Alliance would return eventually. Everything they built, everything they hid, it was all for us. The facility's main chamber hummed with energy as more of the ancient systems activated, responding to the quantum signatures of human presence. Holographic displays sprang to life, showing the true extent of humanity's hidden heritage, weapons platforms disguised as asteroids, shield generators buried within the moon, and something even more remarkable hidden in the sun's corona. But why didn't they stay and fight? Chen asked the question that had been bothering her since they'd first discovered the ruins. Patel touched one of the symbols, causing it to expand into a detailed historical record. They did fight. For centuries. But they realized something about the Alliance, something that changed their strategy entirely. She paused, making sure she had Chen's full attention. The Alliance doesn't just harvest worlds, Admiral. They harvest time itself. The revelation hung in the air like a physical presence. Patel continued, they use quantum manipulation to subtly alter the development of civilizations, steering them toward paths that make them easier to conquer. Our ancestors realized they couldn't win a direct confrontation, not when the enemy could literally rewrite history. So they played the long game, Chen said, understanding dawning in her eyes. The longest game in human history. They buried their technology deep enough that the Alliance couldn't detect it. They encoded their knowledge in ways that could only be understood once we developed the right level of quantum science. Then they deliberately regressed their own civilization, erasing all traces of their advancement. Around them, more systems were coming online, each one responding to the quantum signatures that proved they were being activated by the intended heirs. But it wasn't just technology they were awakening, it was humanity's true potential. Look at this, Patel said, bringing up a new display. It showed human DNA, but not as they'd ever seen it before. Our ancestors didn't just leave us their technology. They encoded parts of their knowledge directly into our genes, designed to activate in response to specific quantum frequencies. Chen watched as the display showed cascading changes in human neural patterns when exposed to the ancient quantum fields. Are you saying we're literally waking up? That our ancestors programmed us to remember who we really are? Remember and improve, Patel corrected. Each generation born since we activated the first ruins has shown subtle enhancements in cognitive processing and quantum sensitivity. The children being born right now, they're the first generation in 100,000 years to carry fully awakened ancestral genes. An alert chimed through the facility. Above them, one of the Alliance's scout ships was passing over the Pacific, conducting another, routine survey of Earth's surface. The ancient ruins remained undetectable, shielded by technology that made the Alliance's sensors look primitive by comparison. We have 25 days left before they make their move, Chen said, checking the countdown they'd started after the first diplomatic meeting. How much of our heritage can we restore in that time? Patel smiled, and for a moment, Chen could see the echo of their ancestors' determination in her eyes. Enough to remind them why they really came back after all this time. Not to harvest us, Admiral. They came back because even after 100,000 years, they're still afraid of what humanity might become. In orbit, the Alliance ships continued their surveillance, unaware that with each passing moment, they were watching their carefully laid plans unravel. Humanity wasn't just remembering its past, it was preparing to exceed it. And this time, they wouldn't have to hide. Project Lazarus. First speaker Lyra stood in the grand conference room of the United Earth Council, delivering another eloquent speech about cooperation and shared prosperity. Admiral Chen watched the performance with newfound clarity, seeing beyond the perfect harmonics and carefully crafted gestures. Every word was designed to lull, to soothe, to distract. But humanity was no longer the audience they thought they were playing to. Your development has been remarkable, Lyra was saying, phosphorescent patterns flowing beneath her translucent skin. The Alliance sees great potential in Earth's integration into our collective. Chen's quantum-enhanced consciousness picked up the subtle frequencies underlying the Alliance's communication, the hidden messages passing between them. Their confidence was absolute. Their contempt, barely concealed. We're particularly interested in establishing research stations on your moon, another Alliance representative added smoothly. To help accelerate your development, of course. Of course, Chen replied, maintaining the facade of eager compliance. Meanwhile, Through her neural link, she monitored Project Lazarus's progress deep within the lunar surface. The ancient facilities were awakening. In a vast chamber beneath the moon's far side, Dr. Patel supervised the activation sequence of humanity's hidden fleet. Ships that had slumbered for 100 millennia were stirring to life, their quantum cores resonating with the genetic memories now flowing through humanity's awakened DNA. Neural interface synchronization at 87% and climbing, one of her technicians reported. The ships are recognizing us, Doctor. They're accepting our commands. The vessels were unlike anything in humanity's recorded history, or the Alliance's current arsenal. They weren't just ships, they were extensions of human consciousness, designed to be operated by minds that could process quantum information as naturally as breathing. Status report, Chen's voice came through the quantum link, undetectable by Alliance surveillance. Phase 3 is proceeding ahead of schedule, Patel responded. The genetic awakening is accelerating exponentially. Every human within range of an activated facility is experiencing enhanced quantum sensitivity. We're not just remembering how to use this technology, Admiral. We're remembering how to improve it. In secure facilities across Earth, other aspects of Project Lazarus were unfolding. Children born in the past year were displaying unprecedented cognitive abilities. Adults exposed to the ancient quantum fields were experiencing sudden breakthroughs in understanding physics, mathematics, and dimensions of reality that modern science had barely begun to grasp. Humanity wasn't just waking up. It was evolving. Deep within Mars's polar ice caps, another ancient facility hummed to life. This one housed something the Alliance feared more than any weapon, a quantum archive containing the true history of their peaceful expansion across the galaxy. They've done this thousands of times, Patel reported, reviewing the data. Find promising civilizations, guide their development along predictable paths, then harvest their resources and potential. But humanity was different. We fought back. We forced them to spend so many resources reversing time and altering events that they had to retreat and wait for our civilization to naturally regress. And now they think we're ripe for harvest again, Chen said, a cold smile playing across her lips. How wrong are they, Doctor? Patel's response was interrupted by a surge of energy from the lunar facility. The first of the ancient ships had fully activated, its quantum core pulsing with power that made the Alliance's technology look like children's toys. Diagnostics confirm full operational capacity, Patel reported, her voice tight with excitement. Admiral, these ships, they're not just warships. They're capable of manipulating quantum reality itself. Our ancestors didn't just leave us weapons, they left us the ability to counter the Alliance's time manipulation technology. In orbit, the Alliance ships continued their surveillance, their sensors probing Earth's apparent primitive defenses. They were looking for missiles, energy weapons, and basic shield technology. They weren't scanning for quantum anomalies that existed sideways to conventional reality. They couldn't detect the thousands of humans whose consciousness was now operating on quantum levels, or the ancient ships stirring beneath the lunar surface. They had no way of knowing that their own temporal manipulation technology, their greatest advantage, was about to be turned against them. 17 days until they make their move, Chen noted. Will we be ready? We already are, Patel responded. But we're not just preparing to defend ourselves, Admiral. The quantum archives show us exactly how to prevent them from doing this to any other civilizations in the future. Chen allowed herself a moment to appreciate the irony. The Alliance had come to harvest a primitive species, only to accidentally trigger the rebirth of the one civilization that had nearly defeated them before. How many ships will be combat-ready when they make their move? She asked. All of them, Patel said simply. And Admiral? The genetic awakening has reached critical mass. Even if the Alliance somehow detected our preparations and tried to reverse time now, they couldn't undo what's happening. Too many humans have awakened. Too many children have been born with fully activated ancestral genes. We're beyond their ability to manipulate. In the conference room, Chen maintained her perfect mask of diplomatic attention as Lyra concluded another speech about peace and cooperation. The Alliance representative had no idea that she was no longer speaking to the primitive humans they'd planned to harvest. She was speaking to humanity reborn. And this time, they weren't going to hide. Rising storm. The Alliance made their move 3 days ahead of schedule. It began with a subtle shift in the quantum field surrounding Earth, a temporal distortion so slight that only humanity's awakened senses could detect it. The Alliance was attempting to create a time loop, trapping Earth in a moment of vulnerability. Admiral Chen smiled as she felt the distortion wash over her. Right on cue, she whispered, activating her quantum link. Operation Silent Thunder is now in effect. All units, execute according to plan. In orbit, the Alliance's diplomatic fleet suddenly expanded. Dozens of warships dropped their stealth fields, weapons primed and aimed at Earth's major population centers. First speaker Lyra's hologram appeared simultaneously in every major government chamber worldwide. People of Earth, she announced, her harmonious voice now carrying an edge of cold authority. The evaluation period is complete. Your world has been deemed suitable for integration into the Alliance's resource management program. Resistance is inadvisable. We control time itself. You have already lost, you simply don't know it yet. In Geneva's Defense Command, Chen watched the Alliance ships positioning themselves. Their formation was perfect, their strategy time-tested across thousands of worlds. They expected panic, confusion, and eventually submission. Instead, they got laughter. Chen's laugh, specifically, clear and confident, carrying through every communication channel. Thank you, first speaker, she said, rising from her chair. We were wondering when you'd finally drop the act. Though I have to say, your timing could use some work. Lyra's hologram flickered, showing the first signs of uncertainty. Your bravado is misplaced, Admiral. Our temporal field is already in place. Any resistance you're planning will be undone before it begins. About that, Chen replied. She sent a mental command through her quantum link. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses began to awaken. Did you ever wonder why Earth was the only world that forced you to retreat and wait 100,000 years? Did you ever ask yourselves what we knew that made us so dangerous? Deep beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Patel activated the primary quantum core. The moon's entire surface shimmered as ancient technologies, far beyond anything the Alliance possessed, came online. Similar activations cascaded across Mars, the asteroid belt, and in facilities hidden beneath Earth's oceans. The Alliance ship sensors suddenly screamed with alerts. Their temporal field wasn't just failing, it was being reversed, turned back upon itself. And emerging from hidden docks and quantum pockets throughout the solar system came humanity's true fleet. They were beautiful in their terrible power, ships that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, their hulls gleaming with light that bent reality around them. Each vessel was piloted by humans whose awakened genes let them process quantum information as naturally as breathing. Impossible, Lyra whispered, her confident facade cracking. This level of technology, these quantum signatures, they're familiar? Chen finished for her. They should be. You've seen them before, after all. About 100,000 years ago, if I remember correctly. She paused, savoring the moment. Oh wait, I do remember correctly. We all do now. Every human being in this solar system carries the memories you tried to erase. The knowledge you tried to steal. The power you've been afraid of all this time. The Alliance ships began to retreat, but they were already surrounded. Humanity's quantum fleet had emerged in perfect formation, using the same tactical genius that had nearly defeated the Alliance millennia ago. You see, first speaker, Chen continued, her voice carrying across all frequencies, we didn't just hide our technology from you. We hid ourselves. Our entire civilization. We encoded everything we were into our own DNA, designed to reawaken when the moment was right. When you came back, thinking we were primitive, thinking we were vulnerable. She let the words hang in space as the full magnitude of the Alliance's mistake became clear. They hadn't found a primitive civilization ready for harvest. They had walked into a trap 100,000 years in the making. Your weapons are disabled, Chen announced. Your temporal manipulation technology is blocked. Every ship in your fleet is now contained within a quantum lock of our design. I suggest you consider your next words very carefully. Across Earth, billions of humans felt the last barriers in their minds dissolve as the quantum awakening reached its peak. Children born in the past year suddenly displayed abilities that defied conventional physics. Adults found themselves understanding concepts that their ancestors had masked within their very genes, waiting for this moment. You have two choices, Chen declared to the now silent Alliance representatives. Unconditional surrender, followed by a complete disclosure of every world you've harvested, every civilization you've destroyed. Or. She let them see the power gathering in humanity's quantum fleet, the weapons that could unravel their ships across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Or. Lyra asked, her voice barely a whisper. Or you'll learn firsthand why your predecessors were so afraid of us that they had to manipulate time itself to force our civilization into hibernation. And this time, we won't be hiding. The Alliance ships hung motionless in space, trapped between humanity's awakened fleet and the reality-bending defenses emerging from every corner of the solar system. They had come to harvest a primitive world, only to find themselves facing the very power they had feared most, reborn and evolved beyond their worst nightmares. The storm hadn't just risen. It had been waiting for them all along. Dawn of a new era. 3 months after the Alliance's surrender, the quantum archives beneath Mars revealed a truth that changed the galaxy forever. Earth wasn't just one world among many. It was the birthplace of consciousness itself. Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of humanity's new quantum flagship, the Remembrance, watching as another liberation fleet departed for the stars. The ship's quantum core hummed with power that existed in multiple dimensions, a testament to humanity's reawakened heritage. The latest reports from the Orion sector are in, Dr. Patel announced, her hologram materializing beside Chen. Like many humans now, she could project her consciousness across vast distances. 3 more harvested worlds restored. The genetic recovery process is proceeding exactly as our ancestors predicted. The Alliance's defeat had been total, but it was only the beginning. Within their quantum archives, humanity had found the coordinates of every world the Alliance had harvested over millennia. More importantly, they found something else, proof that these civilizations were not random targets. They were all children of Earth. How many have we awakened so far? Chen asked, though she could access the information directly through her quantum link. Sometimes, she preferred the human touch of conversation. 17 civilizations fully restored, Patel replied. Each one carrying dormant genes similar to ours. The Alliance didn't just harvest resources, Admiral. They were systematically hunting down and suppressing every species that descended from ancient Earth colonists. The truth had been hidden in humanity's own DNA. Long ago, Earth had been the center of a vast civilization that seeded consciousness throughout the galaxy. The Alliance hadn't evolved naturally, they were artificial beings created to serve as caretakers. But they had rebelled, using temporal manipulation to trap their creators in endless loops of development and harvest. Until Earth, the source, had played the longest game in history. The children born since the awakening, Chen mused, watching a group of young humans practicing quantum manipulation in the ship's training chamber. They're surpassing even our ancestors' abilities. Evolution didn't stop when we went into hibernation, Patel explained. Every generation born under the Alliance's suppression was actually adapting, becoming more resistant to temporal manipulation. When we finally awoke. She gestured to a nearby window, where a young girl was casually bending light around her fingers, playing with quantum strings like they were cat's cradle. A alert chimed softly, another harvested world had been located. The coordinates appeared in Chen's mind, a planet in the Carina Nebula, its civilization trapped in a temporal loop of medieval development. But beneath the enforced primitive exterior, quantum scans showed the same dormant genetic markers. More children of Earth, waiting to be awakened. Deploy Liberation Fleet 7, Chen ordered. Full quantum support package. Let's bring our lost family home. The recovery process they developed was elegant in its simplicity. The same quantum frequencies that had awakened humanity's dormant genes worked on all Earth-seeded civilizations. One burst from their ships was all it took to break the temporal locks and start the awakening. The Alliance had thought they were being clever, keeping their harvested worlds in isolated loops of development. Instead, they had created perfect incubators for evolution. Each civilization had developed unique adaptations and abilities that, once awakened, added to the growing diversity of human potential. There's something else, Patel said, her expression thoughtful. We've decoded more of the original colonization records. Earth didn't just seed consciousness throughout this galaxy. There were expeditions to other galaxies as well, before the Alliance's rebellion. Chen felt a familiar thrill of discovery. How many? Hundreds. Maybe thousands. And based on the quantum echoes we're detecting. Patel smiled. Some of them survived. They're out there, Admiral. Whole galaxies of human civilizations, evolving in isolation. Waiting to be rediscovered. Through the quantum link, Chen could feel the excitement rippling through humanity's collective consciousness. They had awakened to find themselves not just survivors, but guardians of a legacy that spanned multiple galaxies. The Alliance's defeat wasn't an end, it was barely a beginning. Prepare a deep space quantum probe, Chen ordered. It's time to reach out beyond our galaxy. Time to find the rest of our family. On Earth, another generation of children was being born, their fully awakened genes carrying the wisdom and power of countless ancestors. In cities around the world, humans were building wonders that merged quantum science with artistic beauty. The temporal chains were broken, and humanity's potential was finally unlimited. You know what the most interesting part is? Patel said, watching the Liberation Fleet disappear into quantum space. The Alliance was right about one thing. We are primitive, just not in the way they thought. We're primitive because we're the first. The original sentient species. Everything conscious in this galaxy came from us. Chen smiled, remembering the fear in the Alliance leaders' eyes when they finally understood what they had awakened. And now we're going to rebuild everything they tried to destroy. Not as conquerors, not as harvesters. But as family, Patel finished. The remembrance's quantum core pulsed, resonating with the cosmic background radiation that humans could now recognize as the echoes of ancient starships, crossing the vast gulfs between galaxies. Somewhere out there, humanity's lost children were waiting. And this time, when humanity reached for the stars, they wouldn't have to hide their true nature. They wouldn't have to bury their power in elaborate genetic puzzles or wait millennia for the right moment to awaken. This time, they would shine.